Hello to all our KTV Live viewers and listeners in Liberia, Africa, and around the world. I am Cordo, your Kia TV Live friend and online reporter. I bring you the latest about Liberia, the upcoming 2023 elections in Monrovia, Liberia, latest on Africa's military coup pandemic and the world on behalf of Kia TV Live. Our friend and French online reporter Fatou will cover these events making the news and update in French. Stay tuned as we update you on the latest news in and about Liberia, Africa military coup pandemic and the world over. Liberian 2023 general elections campaign breaking news and politics update. Due to the African military coup pandemic stage by militaries in Africa, Gabon's president is seen under house arrest and spoke out calling for help. The Gabonese military quickly opened its country borders 3 days after the coup and today has installed the cousin of the president of Gabon as its new president, ECOWAS, to keep military option open for Niger coup crisis. As a way to avoid the African military coup pandemic, several African governments has and are reshuffling their military to prevent the African military coup pandemic. Will the reshuffle work? Which country is next in Africa to be infected by the African military coup pandemic? As the world and majority of national, international news, citizens of these countries, major world leaders hail the African military coup pandemic and praises Africa's new wave of military-turned-rebels leaders as liberators rising from the militaries, presenting themselves as the saviors of the people and taking over the civilian government in Africa. When will the African military coup pandemic end? Or which country is next in Africa? News details on Liberia's and the 2023 general elections. Liberian 2023 general elections campaigning breaking news and news update. As October 2023 elections draw closer in Liberia, the West African that suffers 15 years of civil unrest and has seen over 18 years of fragile peace with the current president who was named Peace Ambassador Mr. George Weah. All tension gets high during political campaigns, and Kia TV Live seen elections violence been carried out from both sides of the political spectrum in Liberia since the opening of campaign. This is how the 2 to 3 days of initial campaigning looks like, where citizens and supporters of political parties were seen carrying knives and harmful handheld objects to protect their expression and political leaders. Some got badly wounded while others got killed from reckless driving only because. With all the call from Kia TV Live management and peace-loving people both in and out of Liberia, these videos gather show high level of political violence and carrying of knives as the country moved towards a major political elections event in less than 2 months.
Alright folks, this is Liberian TV Network. We are here, so you see there's a riot here. Alright, it's happening here right now between sedition and the UK. So you see, alright, so can you show all the knife? Excuse me. Hello? Hello, can you show all the knife, please? Alright, so folks, you see. So how you got the knife?
Gentlemen, you know. Talking to him, the beginning said, never I'm inside. I told the jacket, look on the blood. I thought they never inside hiking. So you was never give me a side.
So you can see the knife here. So this is a knife.
Yeah.
No, he can't make it with a key to Samba. Were you here from the beginning?
Kia TV has also gathered images of beautiful Liberians that died from reckless political campaigning and driving that when alive. These would have been some Liberia's next future leaders or helpers to make sure Liberia gets better. These died from reckless driving of motor vehicle during political campaigning, and all politicians young Liberians support daily from both sides, including Mr. Weah and Mr. Boakai. One just read a Mr. Weah and Mr. Boakai. One just read a political statement to the public while the other attended a funeral that would have been prevented if they were going to make sure through their political campaign heads that all Liberians go about peacefully and don't have to speed to show how loyal they are to these political leaders. Kia TV Live management is with strong conviction that no Liberian deserved to die for Mr. Weah, Mr. Boakai, or Mr. Cummings' political ambition during these tense political seasons. If only all these political people who know in advance when their activities will take place, but don't do the right thing to tell their supporters to campaign in peace. No throwing stones, no carrying knives, no abusing, no threatening each other, avoid opposition political rallies, drive with care, save a life from untimely death. Instead of carrying candles to funerals and carrying gifts, let's carry messages of how peaceful the gathering was. Mr. Weah, Mr. Boakai, Mr. Cummings. Peaceful elections in Liberia is possible this 2023, so you don't have to do these.
That I could find out, but talking is poison. Like a good kid, I'll never stop loving. I don't know how to.
Kia TV Live management believes that 2023 elections may not be possible without violence during and after, when even the political so-called godfathers are calling on others that they will get even with them, as heard from the Liberian former warlord turned senator for Nimba Senator Prince Johnson in the audio phone call due to political misunderstanding between he and other opposition candidates for the 2023 general elections. Mr. Senator Johnson, the world and Liberians are watching your every move and believe that you can make a positive change in this 2023 elections no matter how threatens the Weah government threaten you. Please, Mr. Johnson, Liberia need to maintain her fragile peace. Kia TV believe that this election is and will be very peaceful with your support from Mr. Weah, Mr. Boakai, and Mr. Cummings. This is an audio gathered of Mr. Prince Johnson threatening to get even with a Liberian that oppose his view for the 2023 elections, even though Mr. Prince Johnson claims to be a man of God and preacher.
You are in Wesley, the meeting you had was last night. You are on a straight order from Joe to kill me in the country. They attacked my family, they wounded most of them in the car. I had meeting last night, that one. You were there, somebody came in Bofia place, the person came straight in the middle. The meeting you had, the owner said it will all now. Will you please give me a chance? But where I have a meeting? Your attacker, you told them not to even receive us. Where I have a meeting? Where the owner said I have a meeting? I never talked bad about you. Where the owner said I have a meeting? You attacked me. No, you attacking me. I don't owe you, baby. But you attacking me. All my radio talk show, everything I've been doing. I've been supposed to say what? They made up my back. But just continue to attack me, baby. That's why we fight my battle. You order your people to attack me, I will pay back. God bless you. No problem. No problem. Pay back. No problem. I will set people on your asshole.
Another very bad sign for Liberia's 2023 elections, gathered over the week, is when the Unity Party political leader, while traveling, was invaded by supporters, or some yet unknown citizens, from the government of Mr. Weah. Due to the invasion of the CCTV recording of Mr. Boakai travel, a spokesperson of the Unity Party said these
partisans, members of the national campaign team, members of the media, gathered here particularly to speak on a matter that has been determined to be a threat to the life of our standard bearer, Ambassador Joseph Imam. On August 28, 2023, the Unity Party standard bearer and former Vice President of Liberia, His Excellency Joseph Imam, took a break from the campaign tour of Monserrado County for a 3-day visit to Ghana. Ambassador Bwaka, popularly known as Rescue 1, departed the Rabos International Airport at about 7 a.m. via AirSky. Minutes after his departure, journalists from Freedom FM, owned by the director of the National Security Agency, announced on the station that Ambassador Bwaka has been hurriedly flown out of Liberia for emergency medical attention. Following the pronouncement from Freedom FM, scores of zealots of the CDC and officials of government, including presidential aide Sekou Kalaspu Damaro and Deputy Finance Minister Sabura Pizzel Wolokoni, flooded social media with echoes of Joseph Bwaka is sick. The Rescue Missions campaign promptly refuted the claims of Same Science, Freedom FM, and CDC zealots, including officials of government, through a Facebook release by National Campaign spokesman Mohammed Ali. Moments after releasing false information to the public about JMB's health, that which has now become the only campaign message of the miserably failed Weah-led government, NSC Director Sam Sion unlawfully released to journalists at his station and surrogates of the CDC a closed-circuit TV or CCTV footage of the Unity Party's tender bearer making his way through the airport terminal to the plane. The CCTV footage was sent to NSC Director Sam Sion by RIA Managing Director Martin Hayes. The unauthorized release of CCTV footage, which is part of the former VP is of the former VP by authorities of the RIA at the behest of President George Manuel Weah to surrogates of the CDC is clear violation of Section 17.40.3 of the Liberia Civil Aviation Regulations, Volume 12, Number 17, issued on August 11, 2021. The CCTV footage is part of the passenger's name record, or referred to as the PNR of the UP's tender bearer, and it is his privacy. The right to that privacy was clearly violated yesterday by the RIA and the government operating through the NSC and its surrogates. The use of the PNR data of the former Vice President and UP's tender bearer for propaganda purposes, which have put his life in imminent danger, must claim the immediate attention of ECOWAS, the African Union, the US Embassy, the European Union, the United Nations, and all other diplomatic missions and international partners in and out of Liberia. The international community should also take cognizance of the fact that the Weah government has sent a clear signal to the rest of the world that no one's privacy, including international travelers passing through the RIA in Liberia, is guaranteed.
Most of all, Kia TV believes that the Liberian elections 2023 may have a problem where no political party is filing to the court until it's too late, except for Mr. Cummings, who spoke on these. That all the elections commissioners and assistants are appointed by Mr. Weah, who is contesting in the 2023 general elections. It might be next to impossible to see Mr. Weah, their bossman, lose the 2023 elections without international support or appointing other opposition stakeholders on the commission to see or make sure the process is safe, free, fair, and without interference from Mr. Weah. But Kia TV and the peace-loving people of Liberia stay with great trust in the Elections Commission if the political leaders cannot sound the alarm now and make this a case in court now. The trust in the Elections Commission is from the recent 2020 senatorial elections in Liberia that saw Mr. Darius Dillon, an opposition candidate, elected as senator for Montserrado County. The Elections Commission proved to the Liberian people that they could not be influenced, and Liberians hoped they would do the same or risk Liberia going back to war again from violence and greed from both sides of the political spectrum, taking into account how everyone is yelling for power this 2023, and some with a hope to defeat Weah in one round as Mr. We hope to do the same in the first round with no one even considering the possibility of a runoff elections to prepare for Africa military coup pandemic outbreak. Breaking news. A Gabon military leader has been sworn in office after a coup due to a fraudulent election results, promising eventual elections with an unknown date, while the deposed former President Ali Bongo remains detained at his residence. General Brice Oligui Nguema was the head of the Presidential Guard but is now leading Gabon and a cousin to the president. Oligui said a transition to an elected government will happen quickly and surely but has not released details on the timing. He said authorities need time to make sure new elections are credible. When arrested and detained, this was what the president of Gabon Ali Bongo said while calling for help.
I'm Ali Bongo Ondimba, president of Gabon. And I'm to send a message to all the friends that we have all over the world to tell them to make noise. For the people here have arrested me and my family. My son is somewhere, my wife is in another place, and I'm at the residence. Right now, I'm in the residence and nothing is happening. I don't know what's going on. So I'm calling you to make noise.
With this development, Gabon opposition leader alleges the ousted president's family arranged the coup to retain power. A sign of further conflict and no sight of peace in that part of Africa. Albert Ondo Assa told the Associated Press on Friday that the junta who ousted Gabon's president on Wednesday, just after he had been declared the winner in the election, did not engage in a coup but rather a palace revolution in order to continue his family's reign. He went on by saying, they then put Bongo's cousin, General Brice Clotaire Oligui Nguema, head of the elite Republican Guard, in charge. The coup in African is named by KTV as be the African military coup pandemic. As the military coup pandemic ages on, Kia TV and all peace-loving people around the world that have no interest in coup look on to see which Africa country is next in line to be hit in September, October, November and December of 2023 with the African military coup pandemic. Out of the 15 countries of ECOWAS, 8 have gone down bad with military coup. It is so sad to see citizens and civilians along with big news outlets around the world hailing these undercover rebel leaders from the militaries of these African countries, some young as 35 years old, like the new military rebel coup leader, for rebelling against his government using the military Mr. Ibrahim Traoré. These military rebels turned leaders are now being accepted by force as liberators of their people. Some powerful countries like Russia supplying guns to them to fight and kill each other so Africans can cry to them for help or to the West for help, as it is also with the Niger. They are crying that they don't want snakes, outsiders, but they are leaving Cobra, the French, to take the boa contractor, the Russians. Are they not the same snake? Or are they not the same outsiders? Will the Russians not want anything in return from Niger? This is a video of the meeting for request from Africa's youngest military rebel coup leader, turned leader of Burkina Faso, Mr. Ibrahim Traoré, with the Russians.
Coopération militaire technique, mais aussi la coopération dans le domaine de l'économie, dans le domaine de l'énergie nucléaire et toutes les questions. Et on va faire notre mieux pour vous aider de développer dans toutes ces sphères. Et j'ai déjà rapporté à votre président tout ça. Et dans le domaine de la coopération militaire, on va discuter le format de la formation de vos élèves officiers.
Cameroon and Rwanda made changes to its militaries in fear of a possible coup due to the African military coup pandemic that is raging in Africa. Which African country is next? As citizens celebrate in the streets in support of each and every military takeover, forgetting that they too would one day become civilian leaders, or their children would. And that the same military might also be planning to take over their very military brothers. In Rwanda, a statement by the Rwanda Defense Force, RDF, showed President Paul Kagame had approved the retirement of a dozen generals, 83 senior officers, and 6 junior officers, in a move that followed promotions of a number of young soldiers in the country's security apparatus and appointments of new generals to head army divisions stationed in different parts of the country. The statement indicated that many members of the old guard who fought in Rwanda's Liberation War in 1994, such as General James Kabarebe, General Fred Ibingira, and Lieutenant General Charles Kayonga, was among the retirees. Kia TV believes that the African military coup pandemic must end. These rebel militaries turned leaders must turn over power to the people or restore constitution order. In Liberia, as the clock ticks and elections day gets closer with 35 days away from Liberia 2023 national presidential and legislative elections as per the Liberian NEC timetable, the up-to-date, registered voters are 2,471,617, political parties, 46, voting precincts, 2080, and polling places, 5,890. Fellow Liberians, as we work towards the 2023 elections, let us all remember that Liberia is all we have, and we must each make sure that this 2023 elections don't divide us nor Liberia. Kia TV management and all peace and violence-free gathering people of Liberia and around the world condemn all violent protests before they are planned for the coming 2023 elections in Liberia. Kia TV live management wants to use this medium to condemn any talk that will lead to violence, as Honorable Yeka and Mr. Boakai said, or many often say, which is wrong. No man has monopoly over violence. This is a talk that must stop in Liberia and Africa from political leaders, so others supporting them will not carry out violence that might lead to war. Even they, Mr. Yeka and Mr. Boakai, are trying to help Mr. Weah protect the peace by making sure Liberia 2023 elections are free of violence or interference and fair for all. You don't have to speak negatively when spoken to or spoken about negatively. It is your right, just as the right of others, to speak. Kia TV believes that only the court of law can make a person speak if they go wrong, as it is written in the Constitution. We should always use the law even if we are hurt and don't know how to express it, or when the judge knows you are right and rules against you. Please use the law, and one day you will find truth, justice. All this is to keep Liberia peaceful. Liberians, we must wake up to the Gabon coup from the election results, the Sierra Leone elections, where the incumbent was announced winner, and missed coup in Sierra Leone, and watch out that the African military coup pandemic should not hit Liberia. Liberians must know that keeping Liberia peaceful is our duty in the 2023 elections and beyond, no matter how upset we are with one another. We must allow peace to prevail. And Africans must peacefully stop the military-turned-rebels and leaders from taking over our country through the Constitution. That is why they always suspend the Constitution. Once again, I am Cordo, your KTV live friend and online reporter. Please like and subscribe for more news and events happening in Liberia 2023 elections, West Africa, and the world. Keep following KTV Live Liberia on Facebook and KTV Online Liberia on YouTube. Thanks for watching. Watch out for the new events making news in Monrovia, Liberia, and West Africa, and the world on KTV. Will you please be our friend by subscribing to our Kia TV YouTube channel and KTV Facebook page? Drop a comment if you can, as we work to improve and provide a balanced report from and about Liberia, Africa, and the world. Let's now bring you this news about Liberia and Africa.